Novak Djokovic will be back at next month's Australian Open after finding himself deported from the country earlier this year. Novak Djokovic has been given an indication of how Australians will respond to his return next month. The world number 5 was deported from the country on the eve of the Australian Open back in January, which automatically barred him from returning for 3 years, but his ban was lifted last month and he will now return a year later to a different attitude over his presence. With the number of Australians supporting his presence doubling since January, Djokovic is set to return to Australia in less than a month after enduring an ordeal at the start of 2022 when he entered the country unvaccinated, having his visa cancelled twice and spending time in a government detention hotel before he was ultimately deported. A year on, vaccination is no longer required for foreign nationals to enter the country. And the change in rules has made citizens more welcoming of the 21-time major winner. The 35-year-old entered the country with a medical exemption granted by Tennis Australia when his visa was cancelled 11 months ago, and even when his exemption was proven to be valid he was still deported over fears his presence would excite anti-vax sentiment in the country. Now, as restrictions have loosened, Djokovic has learned that more Australians are happy to welcome him into the country. 30% of Australians currently support the Serb being allowed to enter the country, up more than double from January when just 14% were happy to see him in Australia, according to a survey conducted by Resolve Strategic for o.v.e.r today. The number of Aussies who believe Djokovic should not be allowed to play has also dropped dramatically, from 71% to 41%. It gives the 9-time Australian Open champion something of a heads-up on the reaction he will receive when he ultimately returns to the country for the first time since being kicked out. And with the attitude towards his presence changing drastically, Djokovic can likely expect to receive his usual reception when he returns to Melbourne Park looking for a record 10th title.